Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. I am so excited today to have Mihir Shukla with us. He is the founder and CEO of Automation Anywhere, and just a fascinating story. And I'm very excited to be able to talk with you about this and with him today. So, Automation Anywhere is now a global organization that he co-founded in 2003. They have almost 4,000 employees today, and the numbers I have, I'm sure I can be corrected, is 2.8 million bots that are deployed at customers in 90 countries, a network of over 2,100 partners and leaders in every magic quadrant or industry leading indice that you can find. They are there as a leader. So a very phenomenal story, and can't wait to hear more about it. So Mihir, let me just bring you forward. Let's do this. That's a little better for both of us, I think. Thank you again for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here, Karen.
Wonderful. So I thought maybe we could just start with, 20 years ago, you founded this company, or almost 20 years ago. What was your vision then? I mean, everything was so different in terms of automation, if it existed at all, right? 20 years ago. So what was your vision, and how did you come to found this company?
Sounds like a great place to start, Karen. 20 years ago, Karen, in a different role, I had a chance to travel many parts of the world, and I saw a world where millions of people were sitting in a cubicles and doing things, and a huge part of their job was very robotic, copying and pasting from one screen to the next. And I said to myself, we weren't put on this planet to do this. This is not a human thing to do. This is very robotic.
Yep.
And so the mission at that time was to unleash the human potential by allowing every company to build a digital workforce, a digital co-worker for every employee so that you can offload 10, 20, 30, 40% of tasks that are robotic can be done by automation. And that mission is still as true as it was back then. It is the same mission that we are on. What has evolved though is the urgency of that mission is now everybody is feeling it more than ever. And if you look at it, almost every business is suffering with labor
Yes.
shortages and a key skills gap. Businesses are facing significant cost pressures. Inflation is rising, so an operational efficiency is required. But when I talk to CXOs of the Fortune 500 companies, they are most troubled by the uncertain environment caused by climate change, health, and political uncertainty. And so they are looking for ways to react fast, be more agile, being able to respond to this evolving conditions faster. And they are relying on automation today to quickly react to the market. So as I said, the mission is as true as it was 20 years ago. And I'm very passionate about unleashing human potential. Always been a believer that the talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. And when you unleash human potential, it allows everybody to be as amazing as they can be.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree with you more about the need for that. Certainly in my consulting work, I see, and I work primarily with leadership teams, and they're not the people who are cutting and pasting, right?
Yeah.
But the demand on the workforce to do more and more, and we certainly don't have, especially in these current times. Let me say, a couple of years ago, it was very easy to just keep adding people to get things done. But now, with this big focus on profitability for many companies, as opposed to just growth at almost any cost, we really do need to be more effective with how we deploy and really provide meaningful jobs for our workforce.
That's absolutely right, Karen. And there are no more people to add, unless somebody knows of an island with billion people on it. These are all the people we have, and
Right.
everybody has a huge amount of open positions. So we have to rethink where to use people and where to use automation.
Yeah. So I know that part of what you've set out to do in different words, maybe from what you said, are around workforce transformation and sort of reimagining how work is done. Can you give some examples of how that has occurred through Automation Anywhere?
Of course. So if you look at companies have large amount of knowledge workers. Take an example of a bank where you have knowledge workers in every retail branch and in back office and mid office in various functions. And this is an example of one of our large customers, a bank, who who said, how do we form this 180-year-old bank into a very digitally operating bank
Mm,
where every worker has a digital coworker? So as a result, today they operate with about 30,000 knowledge workers in this bank. All are enabled with a digital coworker. So let's take an example.
yeah, absolutely. So better for the employee, better for the customer, and better for the company overall. So I gave in the intro a little bit about the stats about Automation Anywhere today. What are, in your words, what would you say is the state of the organization?
So Automation Anywhere today is the number one automation platform on cloud, delivering intelligent solutions across all industries globally. We allow organizations to automate their operations, their customer experience processes, and as I mentioned, free up knowledge workers to be more human, to help them create, collaborate, and grow the business. Karen, we are today operating in a very different kind of an economy than a 10 year ago.
Hmm.
The today's economy is an automation economy. What I mean by that is you have to think of automation as a first. Given a problem statement, you have to think, how do I solve this with an automation? And then if I cannot solve it, only then I solve the old manual. Automation Anywhere drives the automation economy. We create an impact on customer in three main ways. First is we uncover opportunities through automation that will save company millions of dollars and thousands of hours of work and create an agility, a speed, a reduced cycle time, better reduced error, and a significant cost savings. The second thing we offer companies is to upskill teams through community learning, university, and citizen development programs. That allows every business user who wants to take care of their problem with an automation, they can do it on their own. And they don't have to wait for an IT help to do something. This is a completely different mindset, Karen, and we all have to adopt that. And technology is now at a place where anybody who wants to create this automation themselves, they're able to do it very easily.
Yes.
And the third is to employee and customer experience. And I mentioned by creating a digital coworker for virtually every single knowledge worker.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, the need today for agility, speed, efficiency. I'm an industrial engineer by degree, so those things are like near and dear to my heart. And I couldn't be happier to see technology at a place where that's possible. And I know we're just at the edge of what is possible, but that people are able to work in environments where they're able to spend their time doing things that are fulfilling for them. And also, as you mentioned, that we're all now part of the tech team, right? There's no putting it off on IT, and but we have control over those parts of our lives, right? And I think that's also exciting as well. So I know that sort of the buzzword in automation the last few years has been robotic process automation, or RPA. I'm thinking we've moved just beyond it being a buzzword into something where it's truly useful. Could you talk about the trends in RPA and maybe the state of the sort of RPA market today?
Of course. As you pointed out, robotic process automation is this trend started. But today, Karen, the trend has gone much further to what we call an intelligent automation platform. What it encompasses is it offers custom information
Well,
of how work happens. So the platform now allows you to automatically discover processes using artificial intelligence.
mm,
It allows you to digitize documents and make sense out of documents. There are millions of documents still floating in every business. Allows you to automate them with the help of RPA and AI. And then the data that it produces, it gives you an amazing insight about how your work is happening and what could be improved. So again, today we think of it as an entire platform end to end that can transform our work. Some of the trends that we are seeing, Karen, are in last 2 years, Karen, the trends have grown significantly, and partly due to COVID, when people realized that they needed a different way to think about their work.
mm,
So what are those? So some of them are, take example, 90% of business leaders, when I talk to them, they tell us that they are using automation to help address the staffing shortages.
mm,
And without automation, they couldn't even operate. 63% of organizations have automation planning as a part of their annual planning process.
mm.
And 95% say that it is going to be a key digital transformation strategy for them this year. One of the things we observed is that even with the way economy is today, where budgets are tight, 77% of the people have decided to increase their budget on automation.
Mm.
So they may be cutting elsewhere, but they are using automation as a way to find more efficiency. And the other trend is the growth of the cloud in automation.
Yes.
92% of the customers that we speak to say they have a cloud first approach to automation. And I think people saw that during COVID time that when your people cannot be on premise, why should software be on premise? And something changed at that time where everybody realized that it is more seamless to scale and allow people hybrid work models if it is on a cloud. So we've seen a 700% increase in our cloud adoption.
I have a quick question about that. So, my experience with organizations who are reluctant to go to the cloud is typically they want to stay on prem because of either control or because of security. And those things are often intertwined. How do you address that with clients who are on prem and reluctant to move?
Karen, the world of cloud has come a long way. Maybe 10 years ago, the choice was either or, either you're on premise or everything is on a cloud. Today, you have so many choices. You have a choice to keep your data locally and move the compute on the cloud. You have a way to secure it in your private cloud environment where there is even more security that you can
Mm,
put in place and access rights. You have a way to construct this cloud deployments in a hybrid environment where workloads that can go on a public cloud, you can use the scaling of the public clouds, and you can keep the rest on the private and then seamlessly manage it as if it's one. World of cloud has come a long way. Today we are to our knowledge, only company that offers this kind of seamless operating model across
mm.
multiple cloud deployments.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe the cloud has come a long way and customers as well, right? As they're more
That's
and more
correct.
exposed, they can understand the risk is less and less. That's
So,
great. So, for leaders that want to adopt intelligent automation, as you say, where do they start? What advice do you give to people who can see the benefit in doing this but haven't done it yet?
I think the first thing I would tell them is to realize this is not a nice to have. This is a must have for every organization in today's environment. Once you decide that there is no other choice but to adopt automation, then the question becomes how to bring everybody along,
Mm,
where do you start, and then how do you scale. I suggest that it is always a partnership between business and IT. You want
mm,
to take everybody with you in this journey. You want to do top down and bottom up both. Change requires both. Top down mandate that we must adopt automation first strategy is required, but then educating employees using our communities and learning programs to tell them how easy it is. People sometimes are afraid of things they
mm.
don't know. Once they know it, they realize it's not that,
Right.
this is a
Yeah.
great help to me. So allowing people to understand what it is will make them part of the change. Instead of change happening to them, they are bringing the change. So that's always a better approach. And then we offer a customer journey and a governance oriented scaling mechanism where within a year you can transform 5, 6, 10 different departments at a
Mm,
scale. So there is a documented journey and a process to transform. It takes a leadership to drive change.
mm. Absolutely. I mean, it's a giant change process, right? And so we have to get, if I think about the change curve, we go from denial, resistance, exploration, commitment, right? And we have to get
Right?
people over into exploration,
Yeah,
which, as you say, is all about having them understand why this is good for them, right? They
exactly.
have to, they have to
People are not afraid
see.
of change. They're afraid of uncertainty. If
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
bring them along and tell them what this change is and why it is better,
Yeah.
people often enable it. So,
Exactly. And depending on their history with these sorts of things, if they've
yeah,
gone poorly, they will make up a story that is not a good one in the place of uncertainty. If it's gone well for them in the past, often they'll make up a story that is a good one, but they still need to see some quick wins.
so
Um, Wonderful.
yeah, I would mention one more thing.
Yes, of
The, the,
course.
the, the, the world has changed today where employees are now taking a job based on which company will allow them to work with automation.
Yes.
Many of the employees, and especially on the younger side, they want careers, they don't want jobs. And they would tell us that this is, typing from here to there is not the career, it's not a career building resume. And I don't want to do this anymore.
Hmm.
So they would often pick a job if it allows them to work with automation and it creates a better career path.
Yeah.
And now employees know that when you work with automation or create automation for yourself, you get better pay. So it's being driven from customers in terms of his experience, and employees demand it for the careers, both ways.
Mm. Well, it sounds like you envisioned a sweet spot 20 years ago when you started, and here we are. So bravo for that. I'd like to talk a little bit about you. You've been the CEO now at Automation Anywhere for almost 20 years. I imagine, like the rest of us, you have developed your skills during that time. Sort of how and why have you personally developed your skills during that 20-year journey?
I like the question. I would say that it starts with curiosity, Karen. I have to be curious, and I was curious about all other roles beyond my own. I'm a software engineer by
Hmm.
education, but I was curious about hundreds of other roles. I was curious about how world operates. I was curious about customers' challenges. I was curious about how world can be a better place. How can it operate better, more efficiently, create better experiences? And the curiosity is what leads you to all other answers. You never have all, but the fact that you keep seeking. And then along the journey, I acquired skills uh, to articulate a vision that is compelling and a large amount of people can see what the good looks like and why this is better, and then inspiring people, creating systems, processes, incentives to channel human energy towards that better picture. At the end of the day, it's all about people,
Exactly.
and they make everything happen. And how do you lead them to it? And how do you learn from everything? These are some of the skills I acquired along the way.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's a continuous journey. I
right.
like to think I'm as curious as I was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I've done, I don't know, maybe 100 of these C-suite interviews now, and the most recurring theme when I ask a question like that from successful CEOs is curiosity,
Yeah,
which I love because it's also a key part of why I do what I do. I learn so much every time I have an interview, and I am insanely curious about it. So I love that that's what's driven you, and that you recognize, of course, that it is all about the people and having them
yeah,
believe your story and want to be part of this story, and then you giving them an opportunity to do that through good governance. So that's the success right there.
yeah.
I have one last question for you, Mihir. The tagline for my consulting business is up and to the right, because that's the spot on the 2x2 matrix where we always want to be. As you know from your experience as a Magic Quadrant company, was there a moment or earlier in your career when you knew that you were moving up and to the right, when you're moving in that direction?
As a company or as an
As an
individual?
individual, yeah, that
Yeah,
you knew that we're going to be successful or being successful.
I going to be frank, I never thought I want to be a CTO or CEO. I
Hmm.
always thought about what I want to do, what impact I want to create, what change I want to bring, what values I want to lead with. And somewhere in that journey, the different titles that happened along the way, eventually leading to CEO, are an outcome of that process. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was never an end objective in its. And as long as you're adding value in the world and to your customers, amazing things happen by the way,
Exactly.
when you
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have an early experience where you could see the value that we were adding? You could see the difference you were making?
I did. And when I saw that is in my role, I have a chance to visit many customers, and I walked on the floors of this operations, and I talked to the end users. And the first few years, I would invariably ask every employee of the customer and say, "Now that you use automation, would you ever go back?"
Mm,
And their eyes would light up and say, "Never ever. I would change a job, but I can't believe I was doing this before."
yeah.
And when you see that in their eyes, you know that as a leaders have no other choice when employees don't want to go back working that way. Every enduring change has that as in a sense, right? Where take example of a mobile phone. Can you imagine a world without mobile phone? No, you can't.
Oh, I think it's funny we
Right?
still call them phones, right?
And I saw that in people's eyes, and
Yeah.
I said, I see this. It might take a longer change, always takes a time, but we're gonna get there.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing so openly with us today about your journey. Congratulations on all your success, and best to you and your company in the future.
It was a pleasure to have this conversation, Karen. Thank
Great.
you.
Take good care. Thanks.
Bye.